For the past 25 years, I've taught a course in initial treatment diagnostics, interviewing, and the Therapeutic Alliance to first-year doctoral students at St. John's University. During the first class, I tell these fresh faces, we're almost out of time. I only have 32 classes of 3.5 hours each in which to convert you into students who can think critically, clinically, a major retooling, realignment of perspective. And though it's warm outside now, because we start in August, and it'll get brisk, the trees will lose their leaves, snow will happen, giving way to icy harshness, and then moderating will start. Then the leaves are going to come back, and then we're done. All of this will happen, and yet I feel we're running out of time.
I wake up with time as persecutory, and by evening I experience time as holding. Time changes as my state of mind changes. I have wondered how this is for others and for my patients. When you're in the zone in Argentine Tango, the dance that's all about connection, it is like the infinite eternal now moment. Time is felt as organic and unfolding as the embrace with my partner and my connection with my inner self, my partner and the music all help me flow fully into the moment. The same is true in psychoanalysis. When I can be open to the flow of my patient's unconscious and the flow of spontaneous feeling, I can be fully in the zone of the eternal now moment. When I'm a follower in Argentine Tango, I need to be free of anticipation. Whatever steps I know must be in the background of my consciousness as I dance, so that I don't anticipate the lead, and my technique must fully be a part of me so that it can be in the organic flow of the dance. So too, as a psychoanalyst, I need to have all my theoretical knowledge in the preconscious background dimensions of my mind, while I am free to focus fully on receiving the lead from the unconscious of my patient.
In a session, when a patient constantly looks at the clock, or as your patient with a big watch, is this something to be addressed with the patient?
He needed to reach a certain developmental level where he could look at himself with self-awareness, see it as defensive and working against himself, as opposed to just feeling like he's being criticized for his way of doing things.
It occurred to me that there's some phrases that we use in popular speech that might be worth giving some time to. Time after time, playing for time, time out, time over, playtime, work time. Does anybody really know what time it is? Time to go, time to start, your dime, your time, keeping time.
And there's also the expression killing time.
Yeah. Stop killing time.
It's time now to enjoy your lunch.
It's not just a fun pastime, but it's also a way of working on yourself, working on your psychology. And from what I understand, listening to Susan, it's parallels a lot of the work that's done in psychotherapy and in psychoanalysis.
There are 3 time signatures that tangos are danced in, not just one. One is the tango, which is in 2/4 time. One is the milonga, which is in 2/2 time, which is faster, more upbeat. And the one we're going to do next is in 3/4 time, which is a valse, so it's more swoopy. And the technique used to do all 3 of those is slightly different. So we just wanted to show you a slightly different window into tango.
tango world but that know me, for example, my father, he says, you see, I just don't get it. How can you go and do this 3-4 times a week for the last 15 years and not get tired of this?
5, 6, 7 times.
Right, so in case of Susan, it's 5, 6, 7 times a week.
Susan's first page evokes a commonality of experience with an ode, her odes. She wakes up with time as persecutory, and by evening experiences time as holding. We can imagine waking up with time as holding, as a breastfed, satisfied, contented infant, contained in merger and in oceanic oneness, indulged and safe. But for some, and most of us who've had trauma, the frustration of the day gets filled out with demands and intrusions and creates states of feeling in the evening that time as discrete, weighing down, becomes exhausting and persecuting.
Susan's paper is a stimulating meditation on time, play, and the potential revitalization of psychoanalysis. Any one of these topics would have been enough of a gift to us. I think Susan illuminates all three. Susan is doing something very radical that it may be easy to miss. She's playing with and expanding Winnicott's seminal and unceasingly generative notion of transitional or potential space. We could really use a new phrase to talk about it, but it would be very easy to then miss what she's doing. Instead of talking about potential space, which we now take for granted as analysts, she's really talking about potential time. And so Winnicott's potential space in Susan's hands becomes potential space and potential time.
It's particularly dedicated to our friend Jeffrey Seinfeld. It's called Remembrances, and it's about the loss of a love. Jeffrey, he really understood how Tango and psychoanalysis, particularly in terms of object relations and connection, went together. He said that he really got it about Tango.
Son largas las semanas cuando no estás cerca de mí. No sé qué fuerza sobrehumana me dan valor lejos de ti. Tú eres la luz de mi esperanza. Soy como una...
Last year's conference, I sat precisely where I'm sitting now, and right next to me was Jeff, and so we've left that chair vacant for him.